I'm going to discuss about the sequence diagram. So what is sequence diagram? You already know about the ERD, and we need to know more about the sequence diagram. Sequence diagram shows the object interaction. It shows the object interaction arranged in time sequence. So you can see the step by step when you access the website. It depicts the object and classes involved in the scenario and the sequence of messages exchanged between the object needed to carry out the functionality of the scenario. So these diagrams are widely used by businessmen and software developers to document and understand the requirements for new and existing systems. So what we are going to do to make the sequence diagram, usually there will be like this kind of objects. The first is actors. Actors means the user or the person. An actor in UML diagram. UML is the Unified Modified Language. Sorry, Unified Modeling Language. Unified Modeling Language. The UML. An actor in this diagram, the UML, represents a type of role where it interacts with the system and its object. So the actor can be a person, or the actor can be a machine, the actor can be a device, and etc. There will be a lifeline. Lifeline is a named element which depicts an individual participant in the sequence diagram. So basically, its instance in the sequence diagram is represented by a lifeline. Its instance. So every time we do the process, there will be an instance. So lifeline elements are located at the top in the sequence diagram. So this one is the object, and we will have the lifeline like this. The command object is a rectangle with a folded over corner as shown below. So this is command. The command can be linked to the related object with a dash line. So you can put another dash line like this one. So the difference between a lifeline and an actor is like this. A lifeline always portrays an object internal to the system, whereas actors are used to depict objects external to the system. So here is usually we call it the external, someone who access to the system. But this lifeline, we call it, this is the internal on the system. So for example, here we want to show users, and the users would like to go to theater, and then maybe this is not the real theater, but they show the kiosk. Okay. And then this kiosk, you can show some kind of information. Let's say the person would like to do some payment. Okay, the user can insert a card. After the user insert the card, we can see the next sequence is select the date. And then if you already insert the card and if you already select the date, it will show you the seat. What is the available seat And then we can submit the order to this kiosk, and this kiosk will submit the order to the server or to the database. And after everything is going well, the order will be confirmed and it will give maybe a kind of receipt to the user. So this kind of sequence, we need to make it one by one. There can be messages. Messages means the communication between objects. We can show with the messages. So the messages appear in the sequential order on the lifeline. We represent messages using arrow. So the lifelines and the messages form the core of the sequence diagram. So we will see this kind of messages in this lifeline. So this is the lifeline of the customer 2, and then this is the lifeline of the bank. Let's say I have a customer and we want to know what kind of message or what kind of interaction with bank. So first, there will be a synchronous message. Then you can do something. Or if the synchronous message does not give any response, there will be another kind of message which is asynchronous message. And there will be another method. If this one works, okay, it will create a kind of message to the insurance agent, and there will be another kind of message to delete and so on. Or maybe there will be another kind of self message. Let's say if the customer cannot contact the bank, then there is another message to wait, or maybe there will be another message to call back tomorrow and so on. So there will be a reply message from the bank, for example, whether the requirement success or the requirement is not success. So in the sequence diagram, there will be some kind of rules, but it is not strict. So usually there will be this kind of characteristics about the arrows. We can see the synchronous message. Synchronous message means you can directly send message and then receive some response. The asynchronous message, maybe there will be some delay between the message and the response. And written message, it means you can see what the response. Participant creation message, participant destruction message, and the refractive message. For the asynchronous message, it is used when the sender waits for the receiver to process the message and return before carrying on with another message. So usually we have this line to indicate a synchronous message. The arrow used to indicate this type of message is a solid one. So this one, it depends on the type of message. This is a solid one, so it is the synchronous message. The asynchronous message is used when the message caller does not wait for the receiver to process the message and return before sending other messages to other objects within the system. So the arrowheads used to show this type of method is line arrow like shown in the example below. So if you can see this one, object 1, object 2, object 3. So if the line with the arrow, this is the solid. If it is solid, then it is the synchronous message. So this one is not solid. This is just a line. So this is only line. So this is the asynchronous message. So whenever you send a message, you don't need to wait the receiver to process the message. So you can send the message anytime, and then you don't need to wait the response. The written message is used to indicate that the message receiver is done processing the message and is returning control over to the message caller. So if you have a message and then you expect the response, then there will be a response, or this is a written message. Written messages are optional notation pieces for an activation bar that is triggered by a synchronous message always implies a written message. So if you have the synchronous message like this, usually there should be a written message. But yeah, sometimes you don't need to show this one because it is common. And the written message usually it is shown with the dash line. So it is a kind of response after you have the message. We can have participant creation message. It means the objects do not necessarily live for the entire duration of the sequence. Objects or participants can be created according to the message that is being sent. So, for example, the object 1 is connected to the object 2 with a message like this one. And we can also have another message from this object 1 to the object 3 according to this lifeline. So in this lifeline, there will be multiple messages. So we call the next messages is the participant creation message. So for example, maybe I need to send a message to bank. And then after I send the message to bank, but actually there should be a verification from different partners. I guess you know if you have a phone, you need to get some kind of test. So it means after we send a message to this, we will need to send another participation creation message to another organization. So if the created participant does something immediately after its creation, you should add an activation box right below the participation box. So you need to make the participation box because this is the partition part. This is the participation box, and this should be during the process, right? The participant instruction message. Likewise, the participants, when no longer needed, can also be deleted from a sequence diagram. So this is done by adding X at the end of the lifeline of the set participant. So as I mentioned to you, let's say you are the user and you want to access to a bank application. And then when you access to the bank, you need to get any verification from PAS. Okay. So if you already send a message to the bank, and then the bank requires the PAS information or validation, and then PAS will be open, and after you do the verification, PAS will be destroyed. So after you finish with everything, and then if you finish with the transaction, the message will be destroyed. So this is a sequence diagram to represent what you can send and what you need to destroy. reflexive message. It is when an object sends a message to itself. It is called a reflexive message. So if you are the user, and then when you open the kind of system or you open the application, and let's say the app will give you the engine sound. Okay, so it is a kind of the reflexive message. So it is indicated with a message arrow that starts and ends at the same lifeline as shown in this view. So if you want to access to the bank and then it will show the reflexive message, okay, please put your certificate. Then we have the reflexive message before we can access any other method in the other lifeline. The sequence diagram can be obtained from class diagram. You already learned in the computer programming, you already learned in the data structure about the class diagram. So when we create the object-oriented or OOP, we learn about the class diagram. So we can obtain the sequence diagram from the class diagram. For example, this is the class diagram. This is the class diagram for ATM, and then there will be another class, card reader, and there will be another class which is session. So in the ATM, we have two kind of data member. Okay, let me just review a little bit. This is the data member, and then this is the methods. So the data members in the ATM, we have the ID and then cash. And then the other part is the function or the methods in the ATM. Switch on, switch off, get the ID, card inserted, read card, verify PIN, eject card, and so on. Okay. So those are the methods. And whenever we do something, maybe after I read the card, okay, or maybe before we read the card, we want to ask the user to insert the card and then read card or retain the card. And we need to check the session, whether the session will be filled or not. So you can make it as the sequence from this class diagram. This is the class diagram, and then I can make a sequence diagram. So the sequence diagram will start from the object. This is the card reader, and then I can have the ATM, and I will create for every of the method. The first is card inserted. After we have the card inserted, we will create the session. So after we have the session, okay, the session will open during this lifeline, and the ATM also will access only based on the session. So the session will give, okay, I know this card. So it will read the card and then access the card in the ATM, and it will give the message to the session to read the PIN. And then after we read the PIN, we call the read PIN method. So the card reader access the user PIN, and then it will show the PIN to the session. And then if it is okay, then the card reader will be okay and it can continue to the next method. So this is only for the initial verification, and from the inserting the card until the PIN verification. Yeah, you can also make the registration like this example. You can define what is the user registration, login, and then you make list, delete, modify. For example, this is an actor or a user. So you want to make this lifeline. This lifeline is this one. So whenever the user active, they can do the registration, and then the user should send name, email, nationality, user ID, and password. If everything is okay, it will show the registration status, whether the user already registered or not. And we have another page, which is the login page. So the information or the message that we want to send is the user ID and password. If we can verify the user ID and the password, so there is a page for the validation. If it is true, then go to the welcome page. If it is false, show the error message. And because if it is false, we will return a message, login error. If it is true, we are in the welcome. So if the role is admin, you can see this part. You can see the user list, and then you can delete the user ID, so the deletion result will be shown. You can modify a particular user ID, and the modification result will be shown. And whenever you do, after you finish this one, there will be a response to the user. If you are in the welcome stage, yeah, you can also see the response to the users. Okay. So using this one, we can see what is the sequence for the user to run your website. So there can be another type of the sequence diagram. It depends on your system. Okay. So yeah, there are many kind of the sequence diagram. Let's say in this case, if the user now he or she can look at the list member, okay, he can add a member. So when the person is adding a member, so let's verify the data type. Let's check from the validation. If the validate is true, then add the user. If the validation is false, then let's do again the add member. Maybe it is a loop. If you want to modify, you will go to update member, and then from this update member, you can validate. Oh, there should be a line here. Okay, sorry, I missed this one. There should be a line from the update member to validate. If the validation is true, then it will return back here. If it is false, then it will show the error, and the error will go back to this update member. Or if the update member runs the delete, so we want to delete a particular ID, then if everything goes okay, it will show the deletion result to the list member. If it is not, then it will go back to the update member. So using this kind of line, we can see what is your system doing. And you can look at this kind of arrow, what will be the step. Yeah. When your system is getting bigger, of course, this one will be very huge. And yeah, let's see how can you draw the sequence diagram this on your team project. In the proposal, I guess you cannot show everything. You can just show the proposal. If you cannot show the sequence diagram, it is okay, because this sequence diagram require the system, and the system you need to build based on the system architecture. But if you have the ERD, and then if you have already the class diagram, it will be easier for you to create the sequence diagram. Okay. That's about the sequence diagram. Any questions? So I will go to the last part before the mid exam. It is about the form processing. So in this case, I will do more functions on the Django about how we can apply the template inheritance, and then how we can build our own search function. And yeah, we are going to use some packages to deal with this Django. Okay, I'm still using the big project, and then I will teach you more things how we can apply those, like the template inheritance, the for n, and then the simple search function. For the template inheritance, you already know that we can have a kind of navigation. Okay. Our website, yeah, is just a very simple, but if you want to make it more clear, I can show like this one. So let's make a base.html. Let's make the base.html. So we are going to make the base, and then I will show it later together with the member list. So let's make the base.html. Okay. Let's go to the user mgmt, and then let's make a new HTML file. We call it base.html, and then let's update it. Okay. And then next, I would like to add HTML file list quest. Wait more. Is the right one? This quest is in the yeah, this quest is in this case. Oh, okay. So you have the base.html. The base is in the, yeah, I think it's better to make the new base here. And then we have the list quest. I forgot to put one more thing. It is the index. I'm sorry, I missed it one. So let's make a new folder. That's why I confused with this one. You need to make an index folder. I need to update the one. Create index folder. Okay, and you can put the base.html in the index folder. So everything for the template, it will be in the index folder. And then, yeah, this is the base.html. For the list quest, okay, last time we already have the list quest. You can open it. So it just show the information about the question and what are the options for the answers. Without any template, without any inheritance, so you can put the extend. I hope that you still understand this one. Extend, it means I want to use the base. I want to use the base.html in the folder index. And then based on the base.html, I would like to put the content, this one. Okay. So let me modify the list quest.html. Because all the contents will be using the base, so you don't need the header. Because the header will follow the base.html. And once you have the content, you need to have the block, ending block. Once you have the block content, you need to have the end block. I think for better code, let's remove the HTML. And then for every of the code in the user mgmt, you already have the, oh, okay, the other part also the list choice, and then list members, member delete confirm, and member form.html. Okay. So you can refer to the code. You can extend based on the index base.html, and then you can put the block content, you can put the end block. So this is for the all HTML file that you has created in the previous template. So let me start with the list choice. So I have the list choice. I think it's the same with this one. In the list choice, I can just remove the head and the HTML part. And then I will put the end block at the end. So the next will be the list member. The list member, I will remove the, okay, there is no head here. So I will just put this one. I will not using the HTML for the list member. I will extend from index base.html, and then I will use the end block. Okay. For the member delete confirm, for the HTML part, I will also use this one. And then at the end of the part, I will use the end block. For the member form, I will also use the tool, this one. I will remove the HTML, and then at the end, I will use the end block. Okay. So if I refresh this member, yes, this one. I forgot to put the home. So the previous one in the views.py, when we go to home, we just connect like this one with the get template. Okay. Okay, I will just use this one. I will just use that one for the big project. And then I will make it in the views.py in the user mgmt. And then I will make a new, sorry, this is not good actually. So this will be in the index. And then I don't need to do this one. I don't need to do this one. And okay, loader and HTTP response. So I need to get this loader. So I need to import. The import is from the Django template. Okay. And this HTTP response, I also need to use the Django HTTP response. For the context, I don't have any data here. So I don't need to do this context. Okay, so I can just make it blank. Okay, let's see. Sorry. Yeah. So I need to close this one. Yeah, actually, for the base, there is no today is, there is no outer, so I can remove this for the moment. Because no outer and there is no today list. And yeah, I scroll with everything. Okay. There's no here, and let's see. Can I do with this one? No. Okay, let me just close this. Okay. So it works like this one. So I can do with the user management and I can do with the FAQ under the same navigation. Okay. Okay, I will fix the PowerPoint and then I will send it to you again. Okay, because I did many changes on this one. Okay, I'm sorry for this one.